Yes, yes.
Hey, morning. Yeah, you're audible.
Thanks, Sandeep. So, very warm welcome to all of you for the demo session of Camunda 8 training. And let's get started. Maybe in a couple of minutes, few others candidates will join. But as this session is for 1 hour, let's get started. Before we'll start, let's have a quick round of introduction for everyone, and then let's go through with the expectations and the TOC of this training and have some uh, facts around it, question and answers sessions, which we would like to discuss around to understand the expectations and what is the module and schedule we are going to have for this training. Before we have introduction from you all, let me introduce myself first. I'm Deepak Sharma, and I have around 17 years of work experience working into BPM products as a low code developer, architect, and trainer. Have worked into quite a few BPM tools and technologies which offers the low code development. Uh, Specific around Camunda 8, I have been into this product working from last more than 9 years now. Uh, and then I have been worked into this product as well as quite of other similar products as well, which is around Flowable BPM, Oracle, Lombardi, Savion, Sova, and Proflow. But yeah, at times mm, been involved into few other products as well. Uh, Along with that, I have also worked into the other technologies as well. But yeah, mostly since last more than 9 years, I have been working around with Camunda for training, for development, for migrations projects, where I have been involved into working on the POCs and also doing the setup and of this product into various companies and projects, mostly into healthcare and banking domain, right? But yeah, in couple of other projects, I have been involved into manufacturing as well as telecom related domains as well. Before we get started, if you guys can unmute yourself one by one and give an very quick introduction about maybe your name, your total experience, and your relevant experience in Camunda or any other BPM technology will be really good. And then let's get started after that. Maybe you can start in any order.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Sandeep.
Okay, so this is actually I'm working with a bank. Okay, I'm having around 15 year of experience. I'm into Pega technologies and I'm new to Camunda because my project is supposed to be moved to Camunda soon. So I'm learning it.
Thank you so much. Welcome.
Thank you.
Uh, Hello, everyone. Morning. This is Bharanidharan. I've been into development. I'm into .NET development for the last 15 to 18 years. But in my company, I'm in cloud architect position. So I'm more into cloud infrastructure architecture. I have not worked on any BPM process or any BPM related tools. So I'm very new to this domain. So I'm just trying to learn something new. That's all. Thank you.
Perfect. Very warm welcome.
Thank you.
Hi everyone. This is Sandeep. I have a mainframe experience of 14 plus years, and I'm new to Camunda and want to learn Camunda to do a technology transition. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, hi, this is Shashidhar. I have total 10 plus years of experience. I'm basically from IBM BPM background. So yeah, the reason why I'm into this training because my IBM BPM project is going to migrate to Camunda. So yeah, just I want to understand the architecture and how the things works in Camunda BPM. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, who's next? Abdul, you are unmuted. Would you like to go next? Okay, not sure if you have any issues with the audio, but if that is the case and you are able to hear us, you can also use chat option, okay, to type if in case there are issues with the mic or audio. Perfect. Anybody else who left? Okay, I think Prabhakar, you are also there. If you can just unmute yourself and give a quick introduction about yourself.
Hi, this is Prabhakar. I have a 7.5 years in ECM experience, enterprise content management, and also I have a BPM experience like a case manager. I want to explore Camunda, which is match to my profile.
Okay, very nice. What is case manager? Which tool is this?
IBM case manager, which is related to like IBM BPM and IBM BAW also. Similar tool, but
Mm,
it is related to case and task. It is a workflow tool only.
perfect, perfect. So, thanks for giving a quick introduction. So, as I say that people who have nominated for this training having a very good IT experience, right? At least more than 7 years, everyone has worked into some or other technology. So, I see that all of you have good IT experience, right? Few have worked on maybe some other BPM tool, right? But someone or few of them, handful people are also coming from a background which or who do not have worked on any BPM tool so far. Okay, so this training is again, I'm not sure whether you guys got a TOC from the training coordinator about the schedule and agenda of this training. But what we do here in this training, we start from level zero. Okay, that's where this training will go for a couple of weeks or maybe almost like 1.5 month, right? Where we start and we assume that if someone is joining, right, it's a group of different mindful people comes from the different technology. So what we do is we start from level zero, okay, which means assuming um, you don't have any experience with BPM, right? Or the relevant uh, technologies which is required in order to get you started working on this particular product. Okay, I will understand why someone has nominated for this training. Most of the time, it is mm, like having a learning curve where someone wanted to learn another BPM tool, which is quite or like kind of Camunda tool where you have nominated for because technology which is getting emerging, more and more projects are coming into the companies where you would also like to have your learning curve to get some hands-on on this technology and get understand what this tool is all about. And at times there are migration projects, maybe from one BPM tool to another BPM tool, right? Many companies have uh, already been working or automating their business problem solutions with one of the BPM tool, maybe IBM BPM or Pega or some other BPM tool, and they are in a transition where they are planning to migrate from X to Y or from any other low code tool to the new BPM tool which they are trying to acquire is Camunda BPM. So when we have this learning curve, we also see how what are the few migration steps at which you should consider when you're working or when you get an opportunity to work on the migration project. So Idea here is get started with level 0, get understanding of the basics, get familiar with the tool, what this technology is all about, and give you a good kickoff with the understanding of this product. What are the features? Because most of the time we need some training or some support where you get familiar with the technology and tool with the fundamentals strong, which is what the purpose of this training. And then we move on with the intermediate topics and then quite a few advanced topics as well. Considering the mindset and the expectation is maybe if you have worked on the Camunda BPM or you do not have worked on the Camunda BPM at all, not by the end of this training, but during mid of this training at least, right? You should be confident enough to understand the different concepts, terminologies, tools, features, and do a hands-on exercises by yourself to create the workflow tools. What are workflow tools? What is this product? What is this technology? Is something we are going to discuss in detail. Okay, so that's not a problem. Anyways, what I'll do is I'll share my screen, and before that, if few people have joined, right, after maybe couple of minutes, I will request you all to just give a quick introduction about yourself, maybe in the chat section. Okay, I'll be sharing my screen. If you are able to view that, just let me know. And if there are any issues with the audio or with the screen sharing, you can unmute. Okay, I can see Sashidhar. You are able to see. So hopefully that is the case with everyone, right? So I think with few people who have introduced yourself, the agenda here is to get understanding of this product. Maybe somebody is more keen to learn about the architectural point of view. Okay, few people would like to also understand how the development will look like. Maybe few are more interested to learn about what is this tool is all about, why it has been used, what are the classical use cases when we work on the Camunda BPM, and then of course what are the steps or what are the prerequisites we need in order to do the automation using Camunda BPM. Okay, if we consider all these aspects, right, there are different expectations, and then based on that, we have delivered quite a few trainings, and we have set up a list of topics which enables, okay, all the starters, okay, who enroll for this training. Especially, I'll call it as a training because it will help you to get trained to get familiar with this product, right? Then there is a history around it. Uh, there is a previous versions about it, what this product is all about. Okay, what is the differentiation between the previous versioning or like you might have heard about this Camunda 8, right? At least who have enrolled for this training. Anybody is aware of that? What is the uh, previous version of this product? Okay, I think you might have also heard about the Camunda 7. So what are the differentiations between Camunda 7 and Camunda 8? There is a lot, okay? And many companies are doing the migrations where people have worked or automated their products in Camunda 7, right? And now they are moving to the Camunda 8, which is the latest version, right? So what are the prerequisites? What are the steps we can follow for migrating from Camunda 7 to Camunda 8 is almost like similar for the other migration activities as well. So, hopefully you have received this TOC. As I mentioned, we start with very basics. Okay. So, when we start from the very basics, I assume that whomsoever is nominating, right? maybe having no knowledge about it, okay, about the topics what we have mentioned. So that's where we start from the level zero, okay. And maybe someone who has worked on this particular set of topics what we are going to discuss and which is mentioned here on the screen, maybe it's good that we also review those topics, how these terminologies, right, will be best fit in Camunda 8 tool. Okay, where initial I can say 2 to 3 classes when we, because I have to also set the expectations. Once we complete this training, right, what we are discussing is something has to be delivered. Okay, it has to be well transferred. This knowledge, what I am possessing, right, should be transferred to you. But then to get this going, first few classes, specifically around 2 to 3 classes, it is more about understanding the topics and concepts around BPM, okay, about the low code, about Camunda, okay, to get you familiar with the different terminologies which we are going to use. Because at times it is difficult to catch or understand few keywords which is close to a particular technology, right? But then when we use them in and day out exercises, okay, these terminologies will become easy to understand and should not be a surprise for anyone, okay. Then we gonna install and set up a free trial version of Camunda 8, okay, which helps us to do the practical exercises of the topics which we are going to learn. Okay, we learn about the BPM in detail, which means the topics around what are the BPM elements, which is like flow objects, connecting objects, and everything. So it involves mostly around the low code notations, which is governed by BPMN or Object Management Group, right, which helps us to do the development and also to understand what has been developed because it's a low code notation, it's a graphical notation. So it's easy to understand, but it will be easy to understand when we understand what are those objects are, what is the recommendations around it, what is an event, what is an activity, what is an gateway. So we will be having exercises around them, okay, to know what are the different type of these notations are, which has been supported in Camunda 8. We will do practical exercises to also understand how they can be used for doing the automation. Once we do that, we also deploy, we also debug. So there will be uh, like around more than 15 to 20 exercises. So the idea here is we learn these new technologies and concepts, then we do the practical exercises, we deploy, and that will help us to understand this product, right? Naturally, right? We sign up to this tool, and then this is the free trial version of Camunda, right? Where we have the different components listed here. What is the purpose of that? Because we navigate into these particular components of the Camunda, like console, modeler, task list, operate, optimize. That is all part of the architecture of that. Okay, we understand the architecture in theory, but then theory is not sufficient when you have to work on the customer projects, right? We also need to understand where we need to go, and that is where it's a low code tool, right? You need to understand when you have to start something, right, where you have to go. Okay, maybe one thing we can do in multiple ways, but then let's get started how we can do a particular type of thing, right, in by one technique. Okay, then we learn a few other techniques as well once we get familiar with them. So this particular trial version is completely free. Okay, this is a SaaS version, okay, where you do not have to install and set up much of the things. We'll discuss about what are the prerequisites around it. Okay, and then what are the different components about those particular uh, components of that particular product, right? When we go to the console, what all options are available, okay? And then there are two options in Camunda. We can go with the SaaS version. We can also go with the self-managed version, okay? So this is more advanced one where we have more topics around it, right? Whatever we cover in SaaS version, they are also more and less are same, okay? To do that, like when we do the development, we have this modeler option. Modeler is for the development, okay? We need to understand what all things we can do here, okay, in order to do the development, how we can create an application, how we can create a particular BPMN process, right? When we do create a BPMN process, how we can start with this, okay? What are these different options are there? You can see on this screen, right? How we can create an end-to-end workflow. Like this is one of the sample example, right? How we can connect with them. Different elements, right? Having a different shape, like it is a circle, it is a rectangle, these are the lines, this is a diamond box, okay? And then every icon has some other operation. So depending upon that, we need to just configure the properties, right? That is what we are going to discuss in detail when we talk about the BPM elements and uses. To keep thing in mind, okay, when you work on this particular product, when we have our fundamentals strong, okay, it's not only about learning the Camunda, okay. What I can confidently say is if you have your fundamentals strong, today it's maybe Camunda, but maybe there are 3 to 4 similar tools which we are also going to discuss during the demo. You will be easily able to work on those 3 4 tools which supports the low code notations, right? Almost with a high confidence, because these tools are 70 to 80% are more and less similar because they comes with the same source code. So like activity BPM or flowable BPM or Camunda 7, you will be also able to work on that. But here we will understand how you can work on Camunda 8, what are the different components, what are the different terminologies, where you need to go, like if you need to deploy, right, what are these options are, okay, what are the different properties are there. There are DMNs, business rules, which will be you can create. What is a DMN? Again, we will discuss them in detail. What are the DMNs around it? Okay, we will be having 1 or 2 dedicated classes for them. What are the best practices around that in detail? What are the different hit policies around that, which is like an algorithm. So all these things specifically we have mentioned here, like understanding of the BPMN process management. Okay, what is BPMN? Which is like, as I mentioned, right, we'll be having more and less about some theory around it to understand the background, helpful for people who have already uh, like worked on some pro code tools like development tools such as Java, .NET or any other, okay, but have not worked on the low code standards and notation. So what is the BPM basics, disciplines, how it has been emerged, why we are learning this, okay? Then what is case management, what is DMN, okay? And then you can see the different topics which is mentioned there. We'll discuss about the architecture. So we discuss about the Camunda 8 architecture. And because you are going to work on the Camunda 8, it's also good to understand the previous version as well, how it is different from Camunda 7. Okay. So key differences in the architecture when we talk about Camunda 7 and 8. We do the installation and setup. So like how we can do the installation and how we can do the deployment for production and non-production applications can be deployed in multiple ways, okay, depending upon again a company to company, but there are multiple ways of doing that. And if in case we have to configure it with the backend services, right, like at times we do everything with the low code notations, right, we design them, but at times in this product and mostly in other BPM products as well, you can also write some custom logic as well. Okay, which means if in case you need to, let's say, um, do some calculations, okay, you have to execute some backend code or you need to integrate with some APIs, right? what are the different ways of doing that. So we will create some job workers around it, and these projects and artifacts, right, what we are going to discuss, I'll be also sharing the GitHub link as well, so you can also reference them later as well. Those exercises will be there with you. Apart from that, yeah, once we talk about the different things, yeah, installation and configuration, how we can do the process modeling, then which means uh, different aspects of designing or automating a particular business problem by using the process modeling techniques, how we can use activities, events, gateways, swim lanes, right? What is a sub process? What is the reusability concept? What is the purpose of call activity? And then once we cover 50% of our training, right, we discuss about the understanding of this product. Okay, then at times you intend to do some errors or exceptions as well. Always you are not, or like in real scenarios, right, we also often encounter with some errors or exceptions as well, right? You tend to create your processes for happy path, but at times there are errors and exceptions as well. So what are the different ways of doing the error handling and exception handling in your low code? So all these topics are mentioned here. There is a decision management, then case management, which is not supported in Camunda 8, but we will go with a very high level details about the case management because it has been supported in Camunda 7. So if in case, or maybe in other BPM products as well. So if in case you have to migrate your applications from a product which supports the case management, maybe Camunda 7 or some other BPM tools. So we'll have a high level of understanding about the case management. But CMMN usually we discuss in detail when we talk about Camunda 7. How you can integrate your applications, right, with the external systems by using events, by using REST APIs, by using different connectors, okay, to send emails, or maybe with the chat GPT, right? How you can connect with the AI tools as well. There are different, many connectors are there, how we can use them. Then couple of advanced features like how we can also use the markers, listeners, multi-instance concepts, right? Handle the parallel executions, inter-process communication, how we can manage or create the long-running processes. Then discussing about database, what has been supported, okay, how we can integrate with the database, monitoring. So here in low-code tools, if you have worked before, uh, these are enterprise products, right? You buy a license for them. So most of the things, right, when you also do the deploy development, it helps you to kick off or kick start your development cycle pretty soon because of the low code features. But even if you deploy, you can also monitor them. You can debug your processes, right, with out of the box features. So what are these out of the box features, right? Like the operate for monitoring, or cockpit in the Camunda 7 for monitoring your deployed process instances as well, right? Your decisions, you have dashboards and other things. If in case human in the loop is involved, what is the task list? Okay. So these things we will discuss in detail. So by covering all these topics, right, you have a fair understanding of knowing this product. Okay, get familiar with them, helps you to understand the different key terms, and also helps you to start development of your automations. Now the questions may arise, what type of automations we can look to develop with this particular product, why we are using this particular tool, right, in different applications, what are the different features are being supported here, how it is beneficial for end-to-end work. So these may be the different questions maybe you might have, or maybe something else. These, if you have any questions, right, about these topics. Maybe these demo classes is been set up to get you familiar with the content, with the expectations, with the topics, and any questions, okay, which is related to the learning curve of this particular product, right? Why you have enrolled for. So you may ask those questions, okay? I'll be happy to answer with best of my capacity and knowledge, okay, to answer those questions and queries. So yeah, you have mentioned. Can you please give me a short introduction of what is BPM, where it is used, difficulties, since most of the customers were asking Java full stack with Camunda. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So as I mentioned, right, we will be discussing about the BPM in detail, right? What is a BPM? But let me give a very high level details of BPM is. BPM is nothing but it's a one of the low code uh, technology, or you can say a notation, which is being governed by object management group. So it's a group of organization which specify those notations. Okay, like Java, you have a programming language like .NET or Python. You have a programming languages, right, to do the automations of your business problems by writing some code. Okay, like Java is been developed by Sun Microsystem, right? .NET is been developed by Microsoft, right? So same way, BPM is being specified by a group of organizations. Okay, there are more than 11 organizations which has come together to develop those specifications. Now, this is a specification which has been governed, but maybe you might have heard about the different tools like Pega BPM, Lombardi, Oracle BPM, Camunda, Flowable, Signavio, SAP, Bizagi. There are like hundreds of BPM products. What does it mean? Okay, these products, okay, they use those specifications and develop their own tools, okay, to facilitate the companies to do the automation. Okay, most of them are like enterprise ones, which means you have to purchase those tools because they will help you to uh, facilitate your automations with the low code technologies. Okay, they have created a product, bundled all these specifications in a way. Pega BPM might be different than APN. APN can be different than Camunda. Camunda can be different with Flowable, or maybe all these tools, right, are when we talk about the BPM, they have something common, which means they govern or they specify or they are using the BPMN standards, which is something we are going to discuss in detail. But still, these tools are different, right? Why? Because all these tools, right, they have a different type of UIs. They have some different features as well. Few tools come up with some their own customizations where they give additional features to do the development by providing some additional connectors. So there are common BPM elements, but on top of that, they have done some customizations, right, in order to provide the additional low code features. Okay, like in Camunda BPM, we have a lot of connectors, right, available, which helps you to do the integration. Few BPM tools are also supporting maybe a specific programming language to be integrated with them, because when they use those notations, right, are the specification, they do their own development as well, right? They create the product by writing into some language, right? So some products or few products of BPM, right, they are supporting maybe Java, few are supporting different programming languages as well to do the customization. So that is where, right, different tools are providing uh, different type of architecture and the layer and out of the box features. So that's where they are different from each other. That's where when we learn about Camunda BPM, right, we are going to uh, cover two different aspects. First is to understand the core fundamentals about the BPM, which will help you to also work on different product tools as well, which are supporting BPM. That's what I mean to say is not something when you have a training enrolled for Camunda BPM, you will be able to work flawlessly on any other BPM tool. That is not a point here. But the idea here is after having those concepts, right, you will be able to kickstart your journey by learning into different other BPM tool as well, uh, with more ease. Like over the period of years, right? I have worked on many BPM tools, and tomorrow if there is any other BPM tool as well, it helps me to understand few concepts of that product, right, pretty easy. Okay, not in detail. Second thing is about after learning the BPM, because this training is not for the BPM, this is for the Camunda BPM, right? So we also going to focus and facilitate on understanding this product as well, how those concepts of BPM, right, we can implement in Camunda 8 BPM. Okay, I'm saying Camunda 8, not Camunda 7, because then again, there is a different layouts, there is a different out of the box features. Okay, so when we talk about the Camunda, right, how you can do the installation, how you can access those different components, where you have to go for the development of your automation, where you have to go for monitoring of your deployed application, where you can do some admin relative settings, if you have to do some task management, right, where you should have to go. So all these things, right, is something which is related to when we create any application, right? We also not going to deal only with the development, but also to understand what are the different other features and out of the box applications are available. Okay, and for using them, what are these options, where are the limitations, and if you have to go for using those out of the box features, right, which component you have to go for, and in that component where you have to click, what are the options are there, all these things, like understanding the BPM things and then understanding this product. Okay, these two things will combine together, and that is what we are going to use it. And then at times, this is a developer friendly tool. Okay, which means at times if you have to write some code, Camunda supports different programming language, because it give an introduction of the ZB, which is like you can create your client or your custom code in any other programming language. But still, based on my experience, and like Camunda 7 was only supporting the Java, so still what I can see, like still more than 95% of the cases, right, or the applications which has been developed with Camunda 8, they are using still Java. Okay, most of the time in order to do the development. So that is where we are also going to see how we can create a separate Spring Boot application from the scratch. Okay, if we create it, how we can connect it with the Camunda engines. Okay, Camunda 8 engines, what are the different configurations are there, how we can create those custom codes, right, by using those specific annotations. So that is something, let's say if we are going to create any custom code, how we can integrate with the backend applications as well. Like in this one of the loan application, and the example is like what are the different uh, examples, okay, which we can automate by using Camunda. So if I'll tell you, it is not limited. Okay, any automations, right, which you can think of, right, across the verticals. When I'll say about the verticals, maybe it's finance, maybe it's banking, healthcare, telecom, whatever. Because this product is been used by the enterprise customers for the different verticals. Okay, in telecom, manufacturing, healthcare, finance, banking, and you just name it. This Camunda 8 or Camunda 7, right? They have been used across the verticals. So why? The point here is you can automate different type of business problems by using this particular product, but maybe we can focus on one of the domain, maybe banking or healthcare or telecom, whatever you are more confident with. Mostly It's about the financing and banking. So we can use those particular examples as well to do the automation, like in the loan application, right? Somebody apply for a loan application, how you can handle those loan applications, right? By modeling your processes, right, in a structured way. That is something we can discuss in detail with during this training. Okay, but again, different banks have a different way of automating their business problems. Maybe if you go for the Citibank, right, today, they have a different layout to apply for a loan application. You go for the HSBC or ICICI. If even you go and log into their applications, right, every different bank asking you to do the same thing. You log in and you apply for a loan application. Same way, right? The basic fundamental is same. You have to apply, you have to log in with your credentials, and then you can see your portfolio, and maybe then you can do some transactions. These are the core fundamentals, which is something we can automate. But if you look into the ICICI or HDFC or HSBC or any other bank, the UI is different. Same way, the orchestration is different. So that way, right, you can do the orchestration in different ways. But we are going to discuss maybe some common features, right? How we can develop these kind of problems, right, with some common approach. This can be 10% or 20% here and there can be done depending upon the use case to use case. Idea here is to get you good knowledge and understanding. If someone has to give you any scenario of any technology or vertical, right, you should understand what are the different options we have. I call it as a toolbox. Okay, it has so many tools. You need to understand which tool you have to pick to solve your problem. Okay, sometimes you can do that with the low code itself. Okay, by using some connector. Sometimes you have to write some custom code as well. Okay, sometimes it is not even needed. Okay, so and then what are the best practices around on that? These are the things over the period of time, different classes. First we need to understand what are the options available. Then for doing one task, right, you can as I said, right, it's a toolbox. You can pick two or three different tools. Okay, maybe you can do that while writing a custom code. Maybe you can write some script. Okay, but we need to first then understand also what are the best practices around it, when you should go for using which type of element. Okay, that is something we are going to again discuss then. That will help you to understand and realize when in a real project, right, someone has to work on a automation journey, how you can start with them, how you can uh, what are the different options you can use them. And then yeah, it's a journey then. Okay, you make the mistakes and then you improve over the period of time. But at least after this training, you will be able to work on those projects. That is what this training is all about for. Okay, it's not a consulting training where we are going to discuss or maybe we are going to solve the project specific problems. It's a training which is helping you to learn this tool. And then as an engineer, as I mentioned, right, you all have worked from in different projects. Okay, over the period of time, I'm sure over the period of time you have changed your technologies or projects. Okay, maybe after 6 months or 2 years or 5 years. Okay, but then you learn something. There might be some challenges in the starting, but once you get started learning the concepts, right, maybe if you change your project as well, what are the different teams, what are the different stakeholders you have to communicate with when you change a company or project as well. Initially it will be different or difficult, right? But once you get settled after 1 month or 3 months, these things becomes pretty natural to you, right? If some escalation is there, whom to approach, which team you have to go for, what are the tools you need to use to raise those incidents and problems as well. Same is the concept here as well. Okay. First of all, you are going to learn that, right? You have to get familiar with this tool. What are the features around it? BPM, of course, this is the core of this training. We are going to discuss in detail, and that is going to be almost like more than 50% of your training, right, around the BPM products. So when I talk about them, it's like understanding about the events. What are the different events? Maybe it's start event, end event, intermediate event, boundary events, catching event, throwing events, non-interrupting events, interrupting events. What are the concepts around that? Then type of events. Maybe it's a timer event. How to start a project with some timer activity, message event, linking events, error events, all these things we are going to discuss in detail. Then different type of activities or tasks which are available, service task, script task, okay. Then best practice around that, manual task, business rule task, send and receive task, uh, then sub processes, event sub processes, gateways. What are the different gateways are available? Which gateway you have to go for which scenario? So we'll discuss all these things in detail when we talk about the BPM. That is where when we discuss, we going to do some exercises as well around that. And then when we do the exercises around that, right, you will learn different new things with each exercise. Okay. So once you learn a new concept, the idea is not just to just listen. You will be having this free trial, right, available for 30 days. I'll also give you a hack how you can also extend this after 30 days. But again, if you don't want to continue with the same account again, you can use another account. Okay. You just need a Gmail or any email address to activate your free account to use Camunda 8 SaaS version. Okay. And then 30 days is not limited. You can extend it for another 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. But the idea here is once we have this training, what is my expectation is it's not only about one way of learning. Mm, there will be exercises, okay, which we are going to work upon. You have to also use this free tool, right, to do some hands-on exercises from your end as well. Ask some meaningful question. Okay. Happy to share my knowledge around that. But then you have to try. Okay. Once you try, you get more confidence around it. If you just listen, and there will be recordings which you can also refer for a longer duration, because sometimes when we learn few things, we often try to forget, right? So these recordings are there to help you to go back and just see what things we have done or discussed in a particular training. Okay. But it's not only about listening, you have to also implement. You have to make your hands dirty to do some exercises, maybe very basic things. But yeah, that is something you have to try. From career growth perspective, how do you see Camunda evolving compared to Pega in terms of market demand, especially for people transitioning into data engineering and orchestration? Okay, so the next question, Sandeep, what you have asked is, I'll try to be very honest with that. I cannot say Camunda is something which has been used across the industries by all the companies. Okay, there are tools, Pega, which is still, I can say, the number one tool, okay, in low code platform. There are tools like APN, IBM BPM, Oracle, SOA, Proflow, Caseflow, Signavio, of course, Camunda, Flowable, Activity, JBPM, and you just name it. Okay, there are many, but still Uh, I don't know from where you have heard about this Camunda, but yeah, you have heard, right? Companies are acquiring this particular product day in, day out. Okay. And what I see is this product has been launched in 2013. Okay. It's been just 12 years, but the journey is phenomenal. Okay. They started with something. Okay. But after the period of time, right? The way they are progressing, I can see from the orchestration purpose. Okay. If you ask me, this is one of the top two or top three. Okay. At times people will say top tool, maybe best suit for them, but this is a tool which has been used very well for the orchestration. Okay. But again, if you have to do the automation means you, or I hope you all know about the orchestration. If not, we'll discuss in detail. Okay. But what I mean about the orchestration, you have a centerpiece of a technology which is going to integrate with all other technologies. Okay. Like in an order management system, right? Maybe you have one application for order intake, second one is for maybe payments, third application maybe for gifting, fourth is for the shipment, fifth maybe for the feedback, and maybe XYZ. So might be you have different microservices or the applications created for each feature. Okay. And then to integrate with all these technologies, right? Maybe the order intake has been created in Java. Okay. Payment is been created in maybe in some workflow tool, and shipment has been created in some .NET technology. All these are like part of your company, but you need some tool which will integrate this order management right from start till end. And also if you have to do the follow up, right, and recycle or reiterate the flow again, you need some orchestration, which is the center tool has to connect with all these microservices, right? So to understand when to start the second flow. Okay. Like order intake is done, then you should start the payment. Once payment is successfully done, you go for the shipment. So this is an end-to-end automation, right? So to do this automation, you might develop these applications, right, with the microservices instead of monolithic. But there is a tool called as an orchestrator, which orchestrate between all these microservices, right, to do the end-to-end automation. For having such automations, Camunda 8 is one of the leading platform now. Okay. That is where in the banking again, right? You have different services, right? Loan management system. You apply for a loan, it will go for a KYC check. Okay. Depending upon customer is new or not new. Okay. Or KYC is needed or not. Then you go for maybe for credit assessment. Okay. Where different business rules have been executed based on your loan type, your credit history, XYZ. So these are long running processes, right? Once loan has been approved, maybe it has to be go for the legalization team. You have to accept the offer, and then loan management will start, right? Where EMIs will generate, and then loan closure is there. So these are long running applications, right? So when you have a long running applications, okay, which go for longer duration, okay, maybe for months, maybe for years, to have this end-to-end automation, right, to make a track of them, then BPM tools are very powerful. And then again, Camunda BPM is shining in this aspect as well. So depending upon the scenarios, depending upon the use cases, right, we can discuss in detail, and you can then automate different business problems, right, by using this tool. But yeah, uh, coming to the case studies, right, it is there in financial services, insurance, telecom, media, transport, technology, manufacturing, and public sector. You can look into this slide, right, where for the different verticals there are leading companies, right, which are using this particular product. Okay. And these are like few limited which are okay to share. Okay. Sometimes it's a privacy consent as well. Few companies who are using some technologies, they are not ready to share. Okay. What technologies they are using out for the advertisement. But this is a, uh, I can say, very few and handful companies, okay, which gives you an idea, okay. These are still leading companies in their sector and where they are utilizing this particular product, right? But there are more than 500 plus enterprise customers for the Camunda. Okay, I'm talking about companies which are big enough. Like in the financial sector or in the banking services, right? You see very handful of the logos, but there are banks which even they are not been disclosed. Okay, but I'm part of that in Middle East, in North America and South America and Europe. Okay, in Europe, different countries, in Australia, they are using Camunda BPM for their automation. Okay, so if they are investing, okay, they have finalized always, right? When you pick or you invest in a technology, it's a long process. They always know, okay, there are multiple um, players in the market. Okay, there will be an evaluation around it. As I mentioned, right, it's not comes with the free. Okay, you have to invest, but when you have to invest, right, you have to compare multiple scenarios. Okay, like even if you go for buying a car, there are multiple cars are available, but you choose one of the car, right, which is best fit for you. But then you look into your circle as well. Okay, depending upon your friends and families, which type of car you are buying. It's not like that here in the IT scenario, right? You compare different aspects. Okay, depending upon uh, of course the pricing, depending upon the use cases what they are going to automate, how they can best fit in their architecture. Okay, how flexible this product is, how scalable it is. Okay, which means if they go with more transaction over the period of time, how easily you can scale your applications, right, to the transactions. What is the production support or the customer support? So multiple factors will come, but after analyzing all them, right, there are, as I mentioned, there are hundreds of players in the market. Still, I can say many times companies are finalizing Camunda as one of the BPM tools. So there is a lot, okay, with that, which is something maybe over the period of time we can discuss. Not uh, enough time to tell all these things from in one session. But idea here is by looking into this, right, you can understand, okay, there is already mindful people, right? They are doing all this analysis and they are finalizing it. Then there are projects and it is growing. Okay, it's not like it's getting reduced, it is growing, which means the projects what we had in 2015 and compare with the 2020, there are more projects. Okay, there are more companies who are working now on the Camunda. If you compare from 2020 to 2025, okay, over the period of next 5 years, still it is growing. So the trend is growing. Okay, which is what I, but I cannot say this is the only tool or this is the only or the best tool. Okay, maybe for certain scenarios I can say Mendix or APN is very good when you have to go for like top to bottom approach of the development, where you have to develop your applications with the low code, which is for the in-house customers. Okay, still I can say the use case is different. APN will be very good tool. Okay, at times you don't have many products to automate, small size company. Okay, maybe pricing is a issue. Then yeah, of course Camunda can do, but then if you spend some like the pricing wise, right? If you spend to automate one problem, maybe you have to spend uh, few thousands, or maybe you have to spend few lakh. Which option you have to go for? Okay, of course, then pricing matters. So depending upon sometimes there are more complex problems. Pega comes with the Pega Studio, which is like again having so many things. Okay, comes up with that, but maybe then you don't need everything what Pega is supporting. Okay, it's even more highly priced if you compare the costing, right? We cannot go into apple to apple comparison here. What is the pricing Pega will offer in Camunda? But you can say relatively Pega is a bit costlier. But then there are use cases, right, which can be well automated if you have a Pega tool in this. So depending upon the use case, right, different tools are doing well in their capacity, and all tools are good. But here, what I can assure here is the trend of evolving Camunda is good. Okay, over the period of time. That way, yeah, I can say it's growing and it's shining. There are many migration products from IBM to Camunda, from Camunda 7 to Camunda 8, from some other BPM tool to Camunda. That also shows, right? There are benefits which companies are getting, maybe in terms of finance, maybe in terms of scalability, maybe in terms of other factors. Okay. It depends company to company, but there are many projects, which means there is a trend. That's where I think where we have. In Camunda 7, knowledge required before learning Camunda 8. I say no, because you don't need any knowledge. As I mentioned, right, you don't need any knowledge of BPM. Then also we will be able to cover this Camunda 8 training. But yeah, of course, if you have knowledge, it's always good. Any questions, guys? Happy to answer if you have any. Or
Hi, thank you for this wonderful introduction about Camunda tool. This is Praveen speaking. So coming to my professional experience, I have 15 years in SAP, which is ERP. So would you please let me know how this Camunda is better integrated with SAP, and what are the success stories we have already seen, or you have already seen in Camunda integrations with SAP kind of ERP tool?
Of course, like when we talk about automations, right, there are integrations of those low-code tools. Like 50% of the project what I've worked upon, right, with the different ERP tools, maybe it's BAN, maybe it's SAP or uh, Salesforce. There are multiple ERP tools are there. So usually, sometimes few product tools are directly having the connectors for the SAP. Okay, few are not. So if not, most of the time, okay, and even if the connectors are readily available, the ideal way of connecting them is by using the HTTP protocols, okay, or by using the REST APIs. As I understand, SAP also supports the APIs, okay, and Camunda also supports the API integration. So that is the classical way of doing the integration between the two systems.
Okay. So this integration happens through BTP, SAP BTP cloud platform?
I have not
No.
much experience with the specific SAP side. Okay, I have done the integration with the SAP, but then there are different teams, okay, who work on the SAP side. But then we get the APIs from the SAP. Okay, let's
Okay.
say I need to search for a customer, right? We have an API which will be provided by the team. Okay, that this is the API which you can utilize to query for the customer, okay, information. Sometimes we need to update some information of some leads, okay, in the SAP system. So we get an API, and that API you can use to, yeah, actually to integrate between the two system, whether it is SAP or any other system or microservice.
Thank you so much. And my last question, maybe you find it silly, but how is this market doing currently for Camunda? Uh,
Um,
and what are the expectations from the consultant? Because per se, if I am taking this Camunda as my a new product, and I want to secure a job using this Camunda experience, how better I can do, and what are the expectations from the market I would face?
Okay, so based on my experience, there are two aspects. I will be very transparent and honest with that. Okay, as far as I can. In terms of the market, yeah, it's absolutely, I can say, fair enough and good and growing, shining. Okay,
Mhm.
more projects are coming. So there is a demand, what I can see. But then second aspect is about of whether a candidate will get it or not. It depends on multiple factors. I cannot say if a demand is there, you will be able to get it. It depends upon many things, right? What companies are asking for, how the interviews will go for, whether which geographic location it will be. And then about learning is like what I can say is if you have uh, see if you see that you have a capacity to learn a new technology or tool, maybe getting a good job offer is always good. But first, what I say is you look into your company as well. Is there any projects, okay, which are open for this tool? Because always it's good when you learn new technology, you try to make your hands dirty within your company or within your project. Okay, get some experience, maybe 3 months or 6 months, and then apply for outside jobs, which
Oh,
which is always good and helpful if you ask me. Considering you get a confidence, something which you need, okay, when you need to shine. Clearing interviews is fine. We can share this list of interview questions and answers, and it's not tough if you are having work experience of like 10, 15 years. Cracking interview is not a big deal. But the thing is, after 10 or 15 years, when you're taking a, I can say, risk, right? Where you're working on new technology, considering the experience, expectations will be again most of the
too
time
much.
on a higher side. Okay, not always the same. But yeah, comparatively it's on a higher side. So always get an experience, try your hands-on experience on this thing. If you're not having a project, right, why not? This free tool is there, right? You think of any application or project which you are working upon and try to develop that. And then yeah, of course, then you apply. And then this is more of a suggestion, but considering the job market, it is actually good. And one more thing is when you learn this technology or have this training, it's not only about Camunda. Let's say, as I mentioned, right, there are few tools which are almost replica or similar to Camunda, okay, which is like Flowable. If you see the job descriptions as well, go in the LinkedIn or Naukri anywhere. It's not about me, but if you look into the job description, right, it says whether you have worked on Camunda BPM or Flowable. Okay,
Correct.
which
Uh, yeah, I live in Europe. I see few companies, especially when you are referring to banks. A few banks here in Europe, they are asking Communda experience and integration part. But the next question mine is, how helpful a domain experience to cherish a career in the Communda will help. So Communda is again a BPM tool, right? So, would that where is that domain experience needed for any BPN tools to take up
See, when you
their tool?
hire any, you just to be honest with yourself as well. I don't think because it's a low code tool, right? It's a niche technologies. Most of
Mm-hmm.
the time, the problem with the companies is you don't get the resources available. Okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
where you have a higher opportunity to get change. Okay, let's say if you are a Java developer or some other tool as well, right? It is most time if the demand is more and supply is less, right? That's the concept you need to understand. So here, right? Because the tool demand is growing, we don't have the sufficient resources available
Mm-hmm.
at times, right? Then it doesn't matter most, okay, until
Correct.
that you are confident with the technologies and the
Yes, it
tech.
is directly proportional. Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
But if you have a domain experience, let's say if two candidates are shortlisted, someone is having a, you are going for a banking interview, someone comes with the banking
Domain
experience as well.
experience. Mm.
Of course, most of the time, right? If all other aspects are same, okay, about the technical things and interview and other things, maybe the other person will get a higher weightage. But here, it's not a case ideally because of the demand and supply. But if you have that domain experience, always good. Nobody will say it's not be
Okay.
useful. Uh,
Okay.
but yeah, it depends.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Considering this technology about the demand and supply ratio, I say that it's not much because this is my personal experience as well. I have
Okay.
been worked on the projects, okay, in a domain where I had a zero knowledge. That's where I had a knowledge of working into banking, then financial, then started in telecom, insurance, and then healthcare. At a time in my uh, what I can say, career journey, right? When I
Mhm.
started working on healthcare, I had a zero experience working on that. But yeah, I was able to do that because of the same condition. I had a knowledge, and then there was a demand.
Okay, okay. So I trust you are already working in this same tool, uh, Camunda, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, wonderful. Then at least you will be great helpful for us. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, initially I didn't join. I little joined late, a couple of minutes.
No
I
worries.
missed your name. Can you please let me know
Deepak
your
Sharma. So yeah,
Rohit Sharma.
Deepak.
Deepak Sharma. Thank you. Thank you.
So I think, yeah, that's it for today. As we respect the time as well. But yeah, if we have more questions, of course, we have the same demo class tomorrow as well, same time. We can take more questions, and then yeah, what is the agenda for tomorrow is like we have done the introduction, TOC, some Q&As, but we'll do the setup of the SaaS version and go with the overview of the tool as well. Okay. And if there are questions, of course, we can take them as well. Thanks a lot for joining today's session. Wish you a great rest of the day, and let's connect again tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice weekend. Bye.
Bye bye.